What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 54 of the AllDriveNoDrop podcast. Joined by David from Tickle My Pickleball. As always, David, how's it going tonight?
Well, man, how are you?
I am feeling pretty good. I've been, had a busy weekend. Went to a water park with my kids and my family, and that's a lot of work. It's a vacation, but it's not like a slow pace vacation. Just doing a lot of stuff, going. Didn't play any pickleball on the weekend, but went and played some singles today. First time in 2 years. Felt better. I mean, after the first game, I already felt like I was tired, and then like as I got going, I actually felt a little better. I did get pretty cooked, but you can go check out some points of me losing. But I did win the last game, started to get in a rhythm. Great practice for your two-handed backhand if you are trying to improve it. Have you been playing any singles lately?
Last singles match I did was when I was reviewing the J7K Plus and J7K Pro, not even the Plus version. So that's whenever that came out. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, the last time I played singles might have been like 2.5 years ago. I played a singles tournament. I think that was the last time I played singles. And I was just like, yeah, didn't really enjoy it. But now I'm like, hey, if there's ever a time where I can't play men's or mixed, maybe I will sign up for singles and just run it. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. My first singles tournament, my legs were just killing me. I was like, man, this is a lot more running. It's different running from tennis because it's more forward and backwards, whereas tennis is more like side to side. So I think that kind of got me there, and just having all those matches like back to back versus tennis, I had my matches like spaced out. That was a pretty rough time. So I don't know if I would go back to that. Did not have a great time doing it.
No, I'll probably do one time and then take another break for 3 or 4 years and come back. I don't know. We'll see. But today we are talking about some recent partnership switches that are coming up in this PPA Virginia Beach tournament. We will be talking about a great question of the week from David, and then we're just going to kind of go through a stack of all the foam paddles that have come out in the last few months and just kind of give some thoughts. Maybe if we have a certain play style in mind for that paddle that we think would fit for that paddle, we'll say it. Otherwise, we'll just kind of give some quick thoughts, just so that if you're looking for more takes from both of us, just going through all those, we'll give them to you, and we'll see exactly what we say about them, and that's about it. So let's just jump into our first segment in the news, which is presented by Centerline Athletics. I have a t-shirt on from them. You got a long sleeve on them, right?
Yeah,
there, David? Yeah, they got the long sleeve, and that is in that blue lagoon. So they have a whole bunch of new colors recently. This is the lavender skies. They have a red currant, a shade lime, and I think and a red and a coral. So there's some bright new colors that they have. I really like the red currant one. I was just wearing that earlier, but got too sweaty, of course, so had to take that one off. But the red currant's a nice like dark, like burgundy, dark red, whatever you want to call it. You can check that out at centerlineathletics.com. Get yourself 20% off with the code AllDriveNoDrop. But really happy to have them as a presenting sponsor in the news. So actually, I forgot the wooden paddle. I did get the wooden paddle from the PPA wooden paddle tournament, and I played with that a little bit today. Just tried to play a few singles points with it. That thing is so heavy and so hard to maneuver. I didn't get swing weight on it, but and it's so small. I'm like, I don't know. And I heard, I don't even remember heard it, but I heard, like Dylan Frazier's strategy in the men's tournament and mixed tournament was just to speed everything up, even off the bounce. And I understand why, because it's so hard to just maneuver. Like if you were the one first to attack, it's 100% the strategy. It's so hard to maneuver. And for some reason, the ball just goes lower. Like I was doing my normal stroke and switching back with the paddle just into the net every time. I'm like, maybe it's just, I think it's because it's so smooth. Like it just doesn't grab at all.
Yeah.
So where your contact point is the ball's going there. So it's interesting, but I could see that a whole bunch of amateurs playing a tournament with that be very frustrated. It's not easy. You would have to practice with it. and you'd just be doing all that practice for one tournament. So I think that it's going to not be something that we see in the future. Just from my 5 minutes playing with it, I was like, yeah, I'm done. Have you
Yeah,
been able to hit a wooden paddle lately?
no, I haven't, but that's actually the exact opposite of what I had imagined the wooden paddle to be. I thought it was going to be like lighter and
Yeah.
thinner, just because I think the wooden paddles I've seen, like Amazing Aces is probably like the one that everyone has seen. Like that's like a pretty light paddle from what I remember. So I thought it was going to be like that, but I wasn't expecting it to be like a heavy one.
Yeah, I'll have to see it. I imagine that thing must have weighed like 9 ounces or so, maybe more. It's a beefy paddle. But also stuff in the news, new partnerships for that Virginia Beach tournament. We have in the recent times, we had Jackie and Jade. They won a PPA tour. We had Georgia and Tyra beat Annalie and Anna Bright. So Jackie and Jade beat them. Georgia and Tyra beat them. So you'd be like, all right, those teams, shouldn't they be sticking together? And I mean, some of this stuff is preset. But honestly, if you just beat supposedly the number one team, I would think you'd be like, hey, like, we should probably keep it rolling. But here are the new women's teams coming up for Virginia Beach, which some of these people have played before together quite a bit. But Jade with Catherine. I don't know if they've played. Probably haven't played together before, unless it's been a long
They're
time.
MLP teammates.
Oh, they are. There you go. Their team was pretty bad, wasn't it?
No,
they were. I don't remember
the Mad Drops. That was Ben John's team, isn't it?
I don't know. See, MLP is not staying, and I even went and watched it in person.
Yeah, I thought it was like Catherine, Jade, Hunter, and Ben.
I didn't see CP when I was there. I don't think. Anyway, so that'll be interesting. I feel like they will lack a little reach with that team, lack a little size, and then Jackie with Lucy. I mean, I didn't even know Lucy was still playing, to be honest. I haven't seen her do anything lately. So if she has been playing, she just hasn't been making it far. So interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I would insert an Onyx joke in here, but Matt Wright made it to the finals in Onyx, so
there you go. There you go. And then Georgia with Rachel, that will be interesting. I could see them being a pretty good combo.
Yeah.
And then Tyra with Paris Todd, which I think they've played a ton together. So I think she probably just has those lined up. Anything strike you as crazy, or think if you had to pick one of those 4 teams to beat Anna Lee and Anna Bright, which one would you pick?
I think definitely Rachel and Georgia. I think the one least likely, I would probably say Catherine and Jade.
Okay.
Because we mainly know Catherine is playing on the right side, so with Jade being a lefty, you just gotta switch over to the left. So I think even though they played together with MLP, I don't think like they didn't have that much success in it, so I don't see them having a big chance. I think Georgia and Rachel would be probably the best bet there.
Okay. Yeah, I think Georgia and Rachel, and then second would be Tyra and Paris, and then the other two. I mean, I would have told you too before Jade and Jackie won that they had no chance at winning, which would have been a good guess because they've never done it before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not really a team that even makes it to the finals that often. So splitting them up without that twin, synergy power. And then I haven't seen Lucy do anything, so I would actually pick Jade and CP to finish farther than Jackie and Lucy, sorry.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there.
Yeah.
I forgot about them. But yeah, I think it's because you have to set the lineups like very far in advance. So like even before Jackie and Jade won that last tournament, these partnerships were already made. I think you set them for like months in advance.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like people don't cancel and drop each other, and obviously, I guess like Tyra with Paris, they're not gonna, like, they're pretty tight, and so then maybe Rachel's like at least semi-newish picking up since she got dropped by Anna Bright not that long ago, but interesting to see. But I think some people like to make sure that they're not playing every tournament with someone, even if it's going well, just because they like a little variation, which I understand. Maybe they're, especially for like the sisters, like, you're together so much already, you're probably like, we gotta spend a little time apart. I get it. So anything else on those new partnerships, or should we get into the foam paddles?
We can get into foam paddles.
Let's do it.
Or do we do the question first?
My bad. Yeah. going for David's question of the week first, which I have right here in my show notes, but completely could not read. So go ahead, David.
All right. So, do you think embargoes work for these paddle launches? Like we've seen a couple different ones. So, like, do we have like the strict embargoes like Carbon had with the Genesis, where us reviewers we had them, we couldn't say anything, but people just knew they existed. Or and then otherwise there's like the half embargoes, which are like kind of strange, where there's like sort of like a gray line there, and that's what we had with the waves, where we had them, we could talk about some of it, but it was like a gray area of like what can we say and what we can't say, and so we were like building up hype, but then like not sure what we could say, and then some people, not gonna name names, were like breaking the embargo and then putting out more information.
Building
and then
pickleball? No, I don't know.
I don't know about that. Actually, no, I don't think he did this time.
Oh, he did?
He was some of
Okay.
the other ones. But then there's brands like 11624, no embargo at all, and then like we're able to just generate hype that way. So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts? Like, do you think companies need an embargo? Do you think the half embargo is worth it, or do you think they should just, just be like 11624, just tell reviewers hit it, build up the hype, and then let the hype build the paddle itself?
Yeah, I mean, I see this. I don't want to say I see it black and white, but I think that if your paddle is really good, then having no embargo makes sense. People are just going to, if you are very confident in your paddle and you think it's really good, then I think having no embargo is just going to help you. If you don't think your paddle is good, I think you want an embargo and you want people to buy the paddle before people review it. So, and I think that sentiment is kind of felt in the market when you have an embargo up, a day or even on the release. People say, well, if you were that confident your paddle's good, wouldn't you want people talking about it? Why would you want to wait until the release to have people talk about it? I understand having an embargo up till a date before the launch, maybe a week before the launch, and then people can talk. You want all the information coming out, I guess, on one day. I don't know what that does, or if it just creates a whole bunch of buzz. I think that that's fine, like having it a week before or sometime before, but I think releasing the information the day of or even the day before just kind of hurts the consumer, because then they don't really have time to think about it. I think that they're trying to generate panic sometimes, or short it. You're trying to create the illusion of a shortage, like, oh, it's going to sell out. I've heard people actually say that, hey, we're going to only do this amount of stock, so people kind of get FOMO about it. And I mean, obviously sometimes they're not doing that, they actually do just sell out, but I think some might actually go with that intention. And how do you know if they're going with that intention or not? I mean, I guess you don't know for sure unless they tell you to your face. But also kind of, selfishly, I'd rather just talk about it. We have a few paddles we can't talk about right now, but what's the point? I'm hitting him, but now I'm only going to be able to really talk about him one time on the podcast, where I could be telling my thoughts as I'm hitting them, which I think people would prefer. But now it's, maybe I get it to talk about it one time. Maybe I do I just never talk about it because I'm like, yeah, you launched it already and I was just so or whatever. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I think from some embargoes I've seen, the reasoning behind them is because like maybe they're waiting for a patent to go through. Back then when the Nova came out, the Ronbus Nova, so that one had a strict embargo, mainly because he was waiting for the actual patent to go through and then we could release and talk about it. So it made sense from there. But I think for some of these other ones, like I get the point where it's like, okay, I don't want to like generate all this hype early and then let it die down before the release. So I see that. But I I'm on the page where it's like, it's either you set the embargo like a week out, but then just like also just tell reviewers like don't even say you have it, or like don't even mention it on the podcast, because I think it just raises all these questions. And then I feel like we kind of get some like comments that are like, oh, you can't say anything, or like asking us like, why didn't you say anything about this, but this person said something. And that's like, well, I didn't want to get in trouble. It puts us in like a difficult position of like, should we share this information? Should we not? And I'm on the same page as you. Was like, let's just I think the paddle should be able to speak for itself. Like that's how, David was so confident with his paddles, where it's like, okay, yeah, you guys can hit it, test durability, talk about it on your podcast or whatever. We had it for months and those sold out within like 5 minutes. So it's just like, if you trust your product, like just go for it. But mainly we were only seeing these embargoes with like the bigger companies like Carbon, I think 60. I think Yola may have had some. But for
Selkirk
those, it's
too.
like, yeah, Selkirk. And it's like for them, those paddles are going to sell themselves. I think if anything, us reviewers would probably just hurt them. So I think in those situations, I see like, oh, they just don't want us to hurt their sales. But
Yeah.
they know like people are going to buy it day one if they build enough hype, and they just don't want us to affect it. But for those smaller brands, like we can only help you guys. So as long as you guys are, are confident in your product, we can only help it sell more.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's fine. It's out of our. I guess it's not out of our control because I think we both have at least shared our opinion with people before, and they've listened. So it's not like it's out of our control. With those bigger companies, it's out of our control. Selkirk isn't listening. Selkirk and Yola aren't listening to anyone. Sometimes some of the other companies will listen. I mean, and it's going to be different for each of them. So I mean, whatever they want to do is whatever they want to do. Just don't get mad when we do whatever we want to do. So, all right. Anything else on that?
I'm good.
So let's talk about those foam paddles. We're just gonna go through a stack here. Let me see how many I got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Don't get mad at me if it's not 11. I just counted really fast. So, quick math.
I've got 10 on me, so I'm only off by 1.
10? He's going to be 1 short. Well, I think you also have another one that I don't have, Abby, so who knows? All right, so first, the Trufoam waves. And these are not in any order. This is just what I ended up stacking up on my desk, all right? Trufoam waves. This is the hybrid shape. David has the elongated shape, the short handle, right?
Yeah, I got the 3.
Very controversial paddle. Seems like some people say that, first, I'll just tell you what I think about the paddle. Like the paddle. I like it. Plays well. Nice and soft, good dwell. I just think the sweet spot, like, I don't know how else to say it, but it's just not good compared to all the other foam paddles. This is what it is. The ball, without weight, it just and when it gets outside the sweet spot, it just dies. Like, sometimes the ball outside the sweet spot at least returns some energy. This one, somehow it just is like a magnet, and the ball just stays on the paddle almost. Not completely, but it dies fast. Which is a problem if you're not extremely good, right? Most of us are going to hit off center, and we're going to experience that, some more than others. For 280, I just can't recommend it to many people unless you're really good. And you don't care. I mean, even if you're really good, you should still probably care about the sweet spot size. David, what do you think about that waves?
Yeah, so I I play with some. I go to this like meetup on Wednesdays. I think the people there are like 4.5 to like 5.0 level, and some of them were like die-hard Carbon fans. Some of them actually just hate the paddle. Like they were using the Genesis, and then I saw them last week, and like one of them was just like using a Quanta now, and I was like, "What happened? I thought you were like diehard Carbon. You have all their clothes." And he was like, "Yeah, the sweet spot's just like inconsistent. I felt like it just didn't feel good anymore. So felt like I didn't have the power I wanted compared with like other paddles, like I guess like the Pro 4s or like the Boomsticks. Like I needed more power, and the sweet spot didn't feel great." And I'm on that same page where if it does feel nice when you do hit that sweet spot, like you feel that flex in the face, and it's like pretty unique, and it feels good. But then it's just like unless you're super good, like you don't hit that often because the sweet spot is smaller, and it just feels like a bit stiffer. It'll die off. It's just too similar to the Genesis, and like I don't know. It's like if you really like the Genesis, you might like this one, but honestly, like I might stick with the Genesis. Shapes 1 through 3, they are heavier for 14 millimeter, so you can't even customize them with that much weight. So that's why the 4 is the best shape out of them. But even the 4, it's like, you do need quite a bit of weight on that one to really open up the sweet spot even better. But then it's still not as good compared to something like a J2 or like, FC Plus or the NFs. So it's just like there's cheaper options out there.
All right. Fair enough. The waves, yeah. I also experienced the same thing with people that had the Genesis. They were not impressed with the waves. Most of them seemed to prefer the Genesis. And then I saw a few people just drop carbon altogether that were actually ambassadors. So
Yeah.
I don't think I knew one person in real life that's like, I love the waves. I asked them and they're like, yeah, it's a little different. And so it kind of tells you all everything you need to know. I hope that they will do something with their design and like just put an EVA foam ring around it. Probably would be the way to go. Next up, we have the Diadem Bluecore, which, I think David might be the only person that has a review on it right now. I'm not sure. A full review.
I think out of other reviewers, I might be the only one. I learned that not many people care about Diadem because I did not get many views on that.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of went away for a while, and that Bluecore launch maybe kind of lost some, interest in the company because since it was such a flop. I think these are still pretty good. I really do like this 18K. I felt like I was really shaping the ball well. I don't think the phones were that great, but if that's something you're looking for, they are really poppy. They're stiffer. My 16s have softened up a little bit. They came out a little stiff, but they softened up a little bit. And I think the power level would be around that like bottom tier power of like power paddles. I don't think that they're all core paddles. I think they're power paddles. And I like playing with them. Get pretty, really good spin with them too. I like the look. I think if I took the look, there's only one or two that would compete with the look on this for me. And then of course where else can you see the core of your paddle, on the handle and I don't know, the neck. What do you think about these, David?
They're not bad. It's just like more of an acquired taste in my opinion because they're kind of just like a Gen 2 power paddle is how I describe it. That's basically the feel. They're very stiff. If you're familiar with that like Gen 2 light feel, that's what you're gonna get here. Like you said, they do soften up a bit over time, and you'll notice that a bit more in the 16s. But the 14s, yeah, like I don't like them personally, and you just said you don't like them that much as well. But I think they're more interesting compared to the 16s, mainly because you don't see that many with that like high pop out there in a power paddle or in a foam power paddle. So it's a more unique like foam power feel that you just don't see on the other paddles in the market.
All right, so the bread and butter Loco series is next. We got that coming in at 200. So this is actually, I didn't even time it this way, but this would be like my other paddle that looks really good for the good looking paddles of the bunch. I think it looks really clean. I kind of almost wish this was like yellow, this Loco, but what can you do? These are super gritty too. I have been playing with the hybrid version, kind of, flirting as my main here. Like I've been adding it into the rotation. I played a tournament with it last week. I mean, I did win. Thanks for asking, David. Thank you. It was just kind of like more of a for fun tournament. It was like 4-0 and anything above, and you could play men's, women's, mixed, and we played mixed, mostly men's teams, but we ended up taking the victory. Shout out to pretty good. And I was using this, and then I was switching other games with another paddle, one that is embargoed, but I wanted to try it in a competitive setting. But I ended up going to this because it drives the ball so well. Like the way the ball hangs on there for a second and really, just lets you get that extra power and spin for a power paddle. I like the feel. I like the fiberglass layer for the counters. Yeah, this is what I've been recommending to people that are like, I don't want to get the boomstick. I'm like, go get a Loco hybrid then. So, have you been liking the Locos lately? One thing I will say, the elongated is a little hard to maneuver for me. Like, it wasn't I was kind of disappointed I didn't like the elongated as much as I like the hybrid. That was my only thing. Wide body's solid too, if you're a wide body player.
Yeah, I think a lot of you guys know I'm a big fan of the elongated, so that's the one I've been like, if I have to go to a competitive play, like that's the one I've been bringing along. But I've been hitting the other shapes. I hit the hybrid for one day and had a really negative experience with that one. I thought I was gonna like that one a lot more, but I think just because day one it was just super stiff feeling and just couldn't get behind it. So that one, letting my intern hit it right now, so he's softening it up for me. So I switched to wide bodies right now. I had the same thoughts with the wide body too. So I did not like this day one, and I actually like the boomstick over this. And the second I started adding like more weights on this and gave this a little bit more time, then now I like this one a lot better. I just always have to get used to like that fiberglass punch it gives you. But yeah, like you said, this is I think is a better version of the boomstick, like a bit more customizable, and I like that fiberglass feel it gives off, and I think that's the advantage it has over like the Quanta and the V-Sol Pros. But overall, like a very solid lineup from Bread and Butter.
Moving on to the boomstick, since you mentioned it, and also was top of the paddle stack here.
Mine's all the way at the bottom, man.
Ugh, dude, come on. Also, fun to know that YouTube somehow changed the color of this. So I had it in a thumbnail, and it changed it to white. I mean, I don't even know. Like, and the thing is, when I have it like when you go to post a video and preview, it still shows it as red. Like, I don't know why YouTube turned it white. Whatever. What can you do, YouTube? No new version colorways that I know of. This has been way more popular than I thought it would be with the price tag. So
Yeah.
the FOMO is just like real on this one. And it's good. Like, I just wish this was cheaper. And then, yeah, I would be recommending it sometimes, depending on what type of player you are. But if you do like big drives and you like something that's just like built stock, you don't have to change this. Like, you can see my elongated. I didn't put any weight on this thing because I think how it comes is how it should be played. Because it comes, 8.3, 8.4 ounces already on the elongated. Not many people are going to want to add more weight, but, a ton of pop, a ton of power right there at the top of the list in power and pop. Just take some time to get used to. I think it does soften up a little bit, breaks in a little bit. And I've gotten more used to it, and I've liked it over time even more. But I still prefer the Loco to it, but I understand why people would want this over it. But David, how have you been? Have you been playing the wide body or the elongated more?
I switched over to the wide body, but I will say like the elongated does feel better the more you play with it. I think a few episodes back, I gave like a really negative first impression of the elongated. I said I had like the wide body. That one felt good out of the box, with the elongated just felt like so stiff, and I just couldn't really get a feel for the paddle. But then like after like maybe a week or so after that, you start to feel the face soften up a bit. And so and then that's when it started to feel more like the wide body. And then I started liking it more. And then one of my interns got both shapes, and then he hates his elongated right now. He keeps borrowing mine. And I was just telling him, like, that's just what happens when you buy the elongated stock. I think a lot of them out of the box is kind of like really stiff feeling. Even then, like, I still think this is a great paddle. I think performance-wise, it's really good, especially if you like don't want to customize anything. Like, out of the box, this paddle's fantastic. Same as you, I can't get behind that price tag. I don't know. It's just, I get the idea of the Infinigrit, so it's like this paddle should last like 3 times as long as another one. But again, like no discount code. So then at that point, it's like almost 2 times the price of a boomstick, and then, or 2 times the price of like a Loco. And in like 3 months or something, and none of the paddles probably going to come out that you're going to switch to anyway. So it's just hard to get past like the $333 price tag, but still, it's a fantastic paddle.
Yeah. I'll say another thing too. It doesn't seem like anyone has been able to test that grit claim because the edge guards have broken and the paddles have changed. So they have had to replace them. So I don't know when we'll know, if they keep having edge guard problems. They do have a limited lifetime warranty, so they will replace those, but you just don't know yet if that Infinigrit actually works.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen, at least when I went to that factory tour in China, like I was able to see how Dale was doing it for his grit testing. Basically, I think I showed this in like a post, and I think Chris posted as well, but it's like a machine that kind of just circles around and like wears off the grit. And so he did it to like a regular Ruby, and then did it to like the Ruby Pro, just to show like, oh, you can see like this would last like theoretically like 3 times as much as a regular paddle. But for us, it's tough because we've got so many other paddles we have to hit. So it's hard for us to consistently hit one and then run the test on it all over again.
I think it's very hard to test this in a lab because it doesn't account for the ball picking up other stuff, right? It could pick up small rocks, small dirt, small particles of whatever. So you're getting way more, just damage to the paddle's grit compared to them just using a ball or some machine. You're just like, unless you're going to simulate all that stuff, I think they're missing stuff that is just, there in real life. So not saying that his doesn't work. I'm just saying that they're not testing for everything. All right, let's go to the Body Helix Flik F1. So I actually just had an epiphany, but you go first on this one.
Oh, I still really like this paddle. I think this is one of those that like I picked up and I was like, oh, this paddle is so fun to use. Mainly because it just didn't have like a stiffer feedback that we really connected with a lot of the other power paddles on the market. And so it's kind of a bit more softer feeling, but then there's just a lot of power that comes out of it. I play terrible with it, but I think it's a very fun paddle. I think it's top tier up there for power, but I still really enjoy this one. I feel like it's kind of been overshadowed now by like the Loco and the Boomstick,
Uh-huh.
but I still think like if you want something that's not as stiff feeling as those, like this still is a fantastic option.
Yeah. I I wanted to say that with the amount of firepower this thing has, and for me it was pretty poppy. I remember I played with this. It was pretty humid out, probably like 86, 87, and I played like just amazing with it. So I
Hmm.
think this is a great one for if you're in a hotter climate and you're like, I just can't move the ball on some of these hot days. I think this paddle is perfect. And I don't think you'll have as hard as a time controlling it as some other people if they're playing in, lower temperatures. But this thing can get the job done if you're looking for that power paddle. I think the one thing, if I could change in the paddle, would be to not have the fiberglass patch and have a full layer of fiberglass. Did I
Hmm.
mention this is 190? I'm just throwing out the prices if I remember. But yeah, that's the one thing I'd really want to change. But yeah, this thing's a lot of fun to play with. I hope that they're able to get their other shapes approved. It's just always a blast playing with that one.
Okay, good to know. I mean, I'm going to Florida next week, so
Yeah,
it'll
there you
probably
go.
be
Pack
hotter
it.
there, so maybe I'll
Pack
pack
it
it.
and test out my theory.
Yeah.
I think we might have had the last 80-degree day in Michigan for the year today. So I know, so sad, so sad. But what can you do? All right, next up, Gearbox GX2 Power. That is also anything else? It's the same price as the Waves at 280. There you go. It's also 280. I think this is like one of the best at pocketing, and if like you don't want some vibrations, then I think this is the best, if not one of the better paddles on the list. You tell me if you think something's like better at being like less vibration, softer. I think it's definitely one of the ones up there. It does have a break-in period, which
Yeah.
seems to be, and the thing with break-in periods is going to be different for every person depending on how hard you hit, the conditions you're playing in. So that's kind of something that's kind of hard to, you don't ever know when it's fully broken in, right? Like you don't, because you just don't know. It's
Hmm.
you just don't know when it's fully broken in. You can kind of get an idea, but I really like this. I think this is a great one for like someone that's they want a power paddle, but they're a big finesse player and they're like really rely on their spin and maybe some deception. So that'd be kind of one that I would point that. But what do you think about this GX2 Power?
I'm a fan of those. They're like one of the most unique paddles on the
Hmm.
market just because you have that softer, more muted feel. It still has that hollow feedback at the end,
Hmm.
but like the initial impact is more plush, and then the power output just kind of surprises you. I think it does, like you said, have a bit of a break-in before it gets that way. And I think it also has like a slight learning curve because you do have that slight disconnect between like the muted feel and the power output it generates. But it's still a very unique paddle and the only power paddle that had like that soft of a feel to it. So I think
Hmm.
it's really good in that sense. I like the hybrid a lot actually. I've been
Yeah.
hitting that one out of like all the other hybrids I've been hitting. I think that's the one I've been liking the best, but
You know what?
very, very
Yeah.
good paddle.
I need to go. I might bring that hybrid out tomorrow or someday because I like the elongated better, but maybe I'm on a hybrid kick again. I don't know. All right.
Yeah, I went like 10-2 on my hybrid for the weights and then just been playing pretty well with that one.
Beast mode. One of the better, like, I don't know if it just has to do with that softer feel and less feedback, but like one of the better sweet spots for me too. For the elongated anyway.
Yeah.
All right, for Luzz Inferno. This one from a company that seems to be getting a lot of buzz, and David just dropped a banger of the whole Luzz lineup for a review, so go check that out. This one, is this one of the loudest? The Boomstick's loud, but this is pretty loud too.
This is loud, yeah.
You think this is the
This is
loudest
like,
on the list? You think the Boomstick's louder? This is really this is really loud. The Quantas
does yours
decently
crunch
loud.
in when you like push into it? I think people have been talking about that.
I mean, it doesn't crunch, but I can feel, like, you can feel the. I mean, I don't always. I mean, I feel like any of these ones that have the EVA foam ring, you can feel it softer, but it's not crunching. These are stiffer, maybe the stiffest on the list. Very hollow sounding, just big thuds, but these things just rip the ball big, a lot of power, a lot of pop. It's fun to play with. So if you're someone that likes the ball not to, like, and I have experienced this. Some people have told me they want the ball to just, like, pop off the face. Like, they don't want it to stay on the face. If you like that, this is one of the power paddles you could look to. It does seem like the ball pops up the face pretty consistently. And so if you're someone that likes that really predictable bounce, you don't want it to dwell as much, then I would look at this Luzz Inferno, and that would be a good power paddle for you. What do you think, David?
Yeah, I think it's
you heard people core crushing, or not core crushing, crunching?
I think I was like kind of browsing Discord. I think people have been saying that about it, but I left mine downstairs. But yeah, I think it's the exact opposite of the GX2 Power. Like that one's that soft muted feel. I think this is the stiffest one on the list. Might be an unpopular opinion, but I also think this is probably the most powerful out of the ones I've hit. My setup's pretty simple. I just went like 1.5 grams at 9 and 3 on each side and kind of covered up with electrical tape, but it just has that like such a stiff, like powerful feel to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just hit like really hard with that paddle, and for me it's tough because I just can't get a sense of like the resets and drops because of how stiff it is. Like there's no like give into the face, but like you said, like feel is really dependent on the player. So some people might like that softer feel of the GX2, but if you want the complete opposite end of the spectrum, then yeah, this is that stiff power paddle you go for.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, it definitely is one. I didn't get it as my most powerful, but the thing is, I could see this being the most powerful for some because it does hit so hard. It probably just comes down to which swing weight did you get one of these power paddles at, right? Like, was your Luzz Inferno more than your Boomstick, or was it heavier, or was?
Yeah, I mean, mine came in at 121 swing weight.
Yeah, see, and I think my Boomstick was 119. But I'm not specifically talking just you, but like people in general. It's like, a couple swing weight points, or a couple, 0.1 ounce, 0.3 ounces. It could make a big difference in terms of like, oh, do you think that paddle is more powerful than that paddle? At the end of the day, all these high power paddles, they have they have similar top end power, and that's 229. So I'm still waiting to see if they have like a pro that will be like more prominent. Since they have the UPA approval on these paddles, I'm really interested to see, I just wanted to see something different besides Selkirks and Yolas, when I watch the game. It's just see the same things. I feel like lately I get on a court, I got 3 Yola Pro 4s like all around me. I'm just like, geez, where do you guys get your ideas from?
It'd be hilarious to see someone get to like win a PPA gold and they're using a Luzz cannon with like either the minion or like the Kung Fu Panda graphics on it.
That would be great. Hey, I can't believe that out of all these people, Luzz is the first company to do all these different collabs. I mean, Volair has.
Exactly.
But like Luzz is getting big name like collaborations. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, is this? I wasn't sure if it was real when I first saw it,
or if they got the license. Like they're just slapping it on. I don't know.
Yeah,
but good for them. I mean, whoever they have and whatever connections they have, it seems like they know what they're doing. So, and I didn't mean to no, actually I did. This is the Luzz Tornazo. I figured, if we're going to talk about two of the same. And these ones only come in elongated, the Tornazo and the Inferno. I imagine they'll make a different shape one of these days, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe not. Because the thing is, like, they're also like all dual certified. So I don't know if they wanted to go dual certified for like every single shape.
Yeah, that's true. And most of the pros use the elongated, so they're like, hey, we're only going after pros that use elongated shape.
Yeah.
Actually, not terrible strategy because, I mean, most of the top end pros, I'm trying to think, maybe on the women's side, because obviously Annalie uses a wide body, but even a lot of them use elongateds just because it adds to their reach. If they have like shorter reach, they like the
Mm.
elongateds. But yeah, they'll probably go with a wide body if they do. But I personally think that if you're going to only pick two shapes, you go elongated hybrid. I feel like the hybrid gives you enough benefits of the wide body while not sacrificing all that reach. So I think most of the pros just probably haven't even tried it, a hybrid. But the Tornazo, that's what we're here to talk about. What did you think about this one? Actually, in my weight setup's simple. Just 3 grams right here, pre-cut. Works fine. But what did you think about this one?
Yeah, so I dropped that video earlier, and then I was like browsing Discord, and then the Luzz Discord was not happy that I said the Tornado was my favorite one out of the three.
Oh, jeez. What's
But no,
the
no,
Discord's favorite? Inferno?
yeah, they like the Inferno. I think the
Oh,
Inferno
okay.
is the most unique one for sure. I think that's like the most unique paddle from Luzz and the one that stands out the most. The Tornado is more familiar because it's kind of in that like Loco territory. I think it's really similar in overall firepower. I think it doesn't have that punch because I want to say it's all carbon fiber and it doesn't have that fiberglass punch
Yeah.
to it. But I just play better with the Tornado just because it's got more ball pocketing compared to
Yeah.
the Inferno. Kind of sinks in the face more. The feedback's more pleasant for me. It's also like similar like dimension or similar metrics to I think swing weight. I got 119 and like 625, so pretty similar overall for swing weight and twist weight. It's just the feels different.
Would you say if you wanted a Loco that's a little softer and twirlier without less pop, it'd just be a Tornazo?
Yeah, it'd be the Tornazo or the V-Sol Pro when we get to
Okay.
that one.
Yep, that makes sense. So yeah, Tornazo. I had a lot of similar thoughts. I played really well with this. I think if you're someone that likes a power paddle, I thought this was one of the easier power paddles to control too. I really like the control on this. So yeah, Tornazo is for me my favorite Luzz paddle as well. But if you're someone that wants that like more poppy, stiffer hollow sensation, then go with the Inferno.
I mean, dual certified, so if I had to go to a UPA tournament, that'd probably be my pick to bring this one out.
Yeah, we'll have to revisit that UPAA tournament list now that we've hit a lot more on that list and more have been added. There's still haven't hit the Knox paddles. That one I haven't really seen much about those, but to have spent all that money, they have to be coming sometime.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go to the Ronbus Quantas, which those were actually more popular than I thought they were going to be. Just because Ronbus has kind of built some bad will with the ripples. So, and I've seen people be like, never tell me about another Ronbus pedal again. But the Quantas, look, they have the lowest swing weights on the list by far. So if you are someone that you need a light paddle, whatever reason it is, if your tennis elbow is flared up by a heavy paddle with a high swing weight and the low swing weight paddle is the only thing that does it for you and you still want the power, then the Quantas are just the answer on this list for you. That's it. I think that's their best attribute. I personally think that they need a little weight. I think you could get away with playing the R2 without weight and be fine in the R5 too, I guess. But like, why would you choose the R5 over the R2? The R2 is the wide body and the R5 is like the weird wide body. Have you played a lot with their R5 shape, David?
Yeah, so I didn't get the R2. I got the R because we only got to choose three. So I chose the R5 over the R2. And when I hit it, I was like, I regret this decision. This is not the
You
better shape.
regret this immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand the R5 shape. But anyway, I like these. I played very well with the Quantas, and I just wish they would start like doing a different design besides like blue swirls on their paddles. That's it's just my note. But I think if you're okay adding weight and you want the most customizable power paddle on this list, then you can get it up to kind of feeling in like a boomstick or a Loco range, right? Like you can kind of get it. It's not going to feel exactly the same, but you can get it into a performance range of those paddles. And obviously, for $100 after a code, yeah, you're cooking. What do you think, David? Any thoughts on the Quantas?
Yeah, definitely best value paddle for sure. At $100. Like you said, it's not going to get the exact feel of like the boomsticks, but like it gets close. And performance wise, it still gets that power. You can get that sweet spot up there. That pop is up there. So I think this is the paddle for like gear nerds, like people that really love to customize and do it on their own. Like I personally, I wouldn't hit the R5 stock. I think I did try to hit it stock, and that wasn't for me. But with weight, the paddles do feel a lot better. They still kind of just have a little bit of a lighter feel to them, but overall, like for $100, I can't really complain about these. It's like, especially if you're someone that like the C45s, like, because I kind of call these like the C45s of foam. Like they're just
Mm-hmm.
so light, and you can
Yeah.
customize them. But honestly, like fantastic budget paddle, and like fantastic overall still too.
There you go. Next up, we have the Honolulu NF series. So it's kind of gone through an evolution now. They came out with this, the J2, their hybrid shape with the shorter handle. And then they came out with a long handle version. So you got a longer handle, just kind of less room here, less face room. And they have their wide body, they have an extra elongated, and then they have the elongated, and then they also have an FC Plus version, which is basically similar to this, but without a fiberglass layer. Feels a little softer, a little dwellier, and doesn't have as much pop, easier to control. I still think that the NF series, especially this J2 NF, but even the J6 NF, have the best sweet spots of all the foam paddles. I think just like it just feels more consistent to me. They don't have the highest firepower compared to some of the others on the list, especially like when it comes to pop. I think the pop is still good, but so if you're someone that wants a power paddle that just isn't too poppy, but just does everything really well with a good sweet spot and great control, then that's still my recommendation. These are 195. I think go on to 175. But yeah, I know David was not a J2 shape fan, but David, have you found a shape in the series that you've liked, and what are your thoughts on the series?
I've always liked the NF series. I just don't like I don't like the original J2 shape.
Yeah.
That's not the one I'm holding here because it's just a bit flatter. It's a bit harder to put both hands on. It just kind of brought the balance down far too much for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the long handle is basically solved all the issues I had with the J2. So I big fan of the J2 NF long handle.
Okay.
Basically takes off that bottom taper and makes it so the paddle is a bit more customizable. So in this case, like you can see, I went top two corners. I also have like some on the sides here. So it's more customizable and the feel itself is still good. Like if I were to recommend like the most entry level power paddle for someone to pick up, it would be this one right here. J2, like the NF series overall is fantastic. Same with the FC Plus. I think FC Plus is a bit more beginner friendly, but overall, like I think their whole lineup is really good. J3, I've got two. This is one that doesn't get talked about that much, but it's still a
Yeah.
solid wide body. I think it just kind of gets a bit overshadowed by this one right here because the NF long handle is more customizable. You get a little bit more reach. So it's a bit more attractive than this one. I think people have been liking like the more customization and reach compared to like the stability of the J3. J6, which came out recently, I think that's fantastic too. It is a bit like the balance does lean a bit towards like lower compared to some of the other elongated shapes, but
Mm-hmm.
overall, like for me, I just put weight up at the top and it wasn't a big deal. But great series overall. I think best like entry level power paddle series or people that don't want like full like 100% like firepower on their paddles.
Awesome. Last up on the list are the Vatic V-Sols. I have the Pro here. There's also a Power version. So it can get confusing fast. All right, there. David's got the Pro and the Power. David, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so the pop, because I haven't hit these in like a week and a half now. The Power is the one that
Hmm.
has less pop, right? Okay, yep. So the Power has less pop, has a good dwelly, softer feel than the Pro. The Pro's a little, I guess you would say, on the stiffer side, more in line with kind of feeling like the Locos or the Boomsticks, the Quantas, more like that. But David, which one have you liked? You have the long handle ones, the V7
No.
elongated, or no? Okay.
Yeah, I think us smaller guys only got like the regular V7, regular flash,
Gotcha.
and the Bloom. So I don't have long
Okay.
handle versions,
Okay.
but between the two, I like the Pro better. I think the Power is for those people that want those like that more of a softer muted feel. So I think in
Hmm.
that range, we've got like the V-Sol Power, then we have the Flik F1 and the Gearbox GX2 Power and FC Plus. Those are like the four that I would say like people that don't want that stiffer feel, then these are the four you would go for. Visual Power, it's fine. I had no complaints with this one, especially for like $100. It's
Yeah.
really good paddle. This one, I personally recommend this to more people over the Quantas just because they're better out of the box. Like you can play them out of the box. You can also they're also in a range to be customized. So I like to recommend this better if you don't know what you're doing. But if you love to customize, then I'm like, okay, at that point, go for the Quanta. But for
Yeah.
majority of people, I do like to recommend the V-Sol Pros more. This is just basically like a toned down Loco. It just doesn't have that fiberglass pop. It is a bit more customizable, but just, it's just a notch down in that overall firepower.
Yeah.
Which one do you like better?
I like the Pro better, and that's one I've been recommending too. Especially if someone's like, there's so many options, I don't know what I want. I'm like, hey, can't really go wrong with $100 V-Sol Pro and just try it out. If you don't like it, I mean, you could sell it or do whatever, but it's not a big of an investment as some of the other paddles on the list. And I think if you're someone that's like, I want a power paddle, but I want one that's easier to control, I think the Power is a great one
Yeah.
to get too. If you want something that's a little easier to control and you just want to take your first step into a power paddle, I think it's a great option as well. Or you just want one that's one of the softer ones on the list, since not all of them are that soft. I think it's a good option. But yeah, I think they probably hit a home run here. We'll probably see a ton of these on the courts. I've already seen some Quantas on the courts, so I am sure we will see these on the courts as well. But yeah, any other thoughts on foam paddles? Did we miss anything? I know. Did you want to touch on the avatar anymore at all?
Yeah, I think the last two, I would say like Avatar is one of them. I think that one, at least for me, it kind of just reminds me of a slightly toned down Inferno. It's also really stiff and hollow feeling, but mine came in a bit lighter, so I did have to weight that one up a bit more. But if I had to say like which paddle the Avatar is more similar to, I would say the Inferno. You hit that one, right?
Yeah, I
Avatar?
did. I did hit the avatar. I liked it. I mean, I thought that I could swing pretty big with it, and maybe the grit on it was illegal. I'm not sure. The thing was one of the grittiest paddles I've ever touched, but I did really like it. Had pretty good power, not too much power, probably like bottom to mid tier-ish. I didn't test the numbers because I had to give it back, so I was like, I can't run all this stuff because I won't even have it to compare stuff to again. But I enjoyed it. I think it's hard to, until they get a presence here, I think it's hard to recommend to people at the price point because they still have to warranty it through Sypic. And let me
Yeah.
tell you, getting a hold of Sypic is not it's not an easy job. If I can't do it, then how are these regular consumers, you know, gonna do it? But maybe their customer service gets through it. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I just don't know. There's like, look at all the paddles we talked about who have an established foothold here. How could we recommend it over one of those? I don't think it's like Heads and Shoulders does something better than anyone else is the problem.
This is also
With
like
the
what, 280 or something?
Yeah, I believe it's 280. Sure, I think you can get it with a discount sometimes, but that's just a lot to pay for something that you're not 100% sure how to warranty it or what the customer service is here. If is it in Vietnam or is it here? That's kind of the problem for me. Yeah. Did you say you had another one you wanted to talk about, or was that it?
The last one, because people might ask about this in comments, is going to be the Element 6 Zephyr. Interesting story about this one is like I got my Surtur the same time I got the Zephyr, so I have like a production version of the Surtur. So my my thoughts on that are different from those of you who have the pre-production version. And then my Zephyr I have is a pre-production, and I think they're now giving out the production version of the Zephyr. So it's just like at this time, I don't really want to give it an opinion on it. I know I did release a video, but I just feel like with what I have now isn't like the most up-to-date version of the paddle. And you also don't have the production version. So just want to let people know that's why we left the Zephyr off the list and until we can get like both production versions of the paddle for us to both try. All right, and next, like Jacob is finally back. But yeah, no, I had that covered on the Zephyr.
Yeah, look, so when people talk about this Zephyr, yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Anyway, any final thoughts going into this next week, David? Anything coming up for you?
I do have a secret project I'm working on with Speak Pickleball, but hopefully
Ooh,
you guys might see something soon.
a secret project. Okay, stay
Yep.
tuned, and I assume that will be on Instagram.
No, it might be somewhere else.
Ooh, a video? Okay. Maybe a little interview? Who knows? He won't say
No,
more.
you guys.
You can't. This guy he's locked up. All right. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing something coming up. That's all I got. Everyone have a great week.
All right.